The glass doors of the luxurious jewelry store gleamed under the midday sun, reflecting the city's bustle and the polished elegance of wealth. Inside, the floors were a mirror of marble, the air faintly perfumed with the scent of roses, and the display counters shimmered with diamonds, sapphires, and gold. Into this world of quiet luxury walked a boy who seemed to belong anywhere but here. His shirt was faded and slightly torn at the edges, his shoes scuffed from too many miles on cracked sidewalks, and his hair a little messy as though he had walked against the wind. His name was Arav, and from the moment he stepped through the door, heads turned, not in welcome, but in judgment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and not judging people by appearances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Journal. Your support helps us spread these powerful stories to more hearts around the world. The staff's eyes followed Arav with the sharpness of suspicion, their polite smiles cracking into hidden smirks. A few wealthy customers whispered to each other, holding their handbags tighter as though this boy might have come to steal instead of shop. Arav felt their stares, the weight of their ridicule pressing against his chest, but he walked forward anyway. His eyes had only one destination, the display case where a simple, heart-shaped silver locket hung, modest compared to the dazzling diamond necklaces around it. For Arav, that locket was priceless, not because of its cost, but because of what it meant. His mother's birthday was tomorrow, and though they lived a life of quiet struggle, he wanted to give her something beautiful, something she had never dared to buy for herself. But before he could even ask, one of the clerks stepped forward, her voice laced with a sugary tone that barely hid her disdain. "This section is for paying customers, young man. Maybe you'd be more comfortable browsing elsewhere." The chuckle that followed from another staff member stung like a whip. Arav swallowed hard, his throat tight with humiliation, but he pointed at the locket and asked softly if he could see it. The response was laughter, low at first, then growing when one of the well-dressed customers, a teenage boy with a watch worth more than Arav's entire home, muttered loudly, "Maybe he thinks he can pay with pocket change." The group of customers erupted into mocking giggles, and even the cashier struggled to hide a smile. Arav's cheeks burned, and for a moment he wanted to turn and run, to escape the cruelty that surrounded him. But his mother's face flashed in his mind, her tired eyes, her hands worn from years of stitching clothes for others, her quiet sacrifices that no one noticed. He clenched his fists, steadying himself. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small cloth pouch. From it, he carefully counted a stack of crumpled bills and coins. It wasn't much, but it was honest money he had saved from doing odd jobs, carrying groceries, sweeping sidewalks, tutoring younger kids in math. Every coin carried the weight of his sweat, his effort, his determination. Yet instead of respect, the sight of his humble earnings only brought more ridicule. "Look at him," a woman sneered, "trying to buy silver with scraps. This isn't a flea market." Arav's heart sank, and for the first time, doubt clawed its way into him. The store manager, a tall man in a suit, finally walked over, his expression rather of irritation rather than courtesy. "Son, you're holding up real customers. Please step aside." The laughter rippled again. Arav's lips trembled, but he stood his ground and whispered, "Please, I just want to buy this for my mom." His words were soft but carried a raw sincerity that silenced the air for a moment. But then, with cruel irony, the manager burst into a laugh that echoed across the store. What no one in that room knew, what none of their mocking eyes could see, was that the boy they belittled was not just any boy. Arav's father, Rajveer Malhotra, was the silent owner of this very jewelry store, a man of immense wealth but even greater humility. Rajveer believed in teaching his son values no riches could buy. He had never spoiled Arav with luxury. Instead, he encouraged him to earn his own way, to understand dignity in hard work, and to respect every coin no matter how small. Rajveer had given his son freedom that day, unaware of the storm he would walk into. Just as Arav lowered his gaze in shame, the heavy glass doors opened again. Rajveer himself walked in, his presence commanding attention without a word. Dressed simply in a crisp white shirt and black trousers, he did not look like the kind of man who could own such a place. Yet the staff immediately stiffened when they recognized him. Silence fell, but Arav, lost in his humiliation, didn't even notice his father enter. Rajveer's eyes scanned the room, instantly taking in the scene. The coins scattered on the counter, the smirks frozen on faces, his son's slumped shoulders. His heart tightened. Is there a problem here? Rajvir's voice was calm, but it cut through the room like thunder. The staff scrambled, their earlier arrogance vanishing. The manager stuttered, "Yes, sir, this boy was." But Rajvir raised a hand, silencing him. His gaze softened as it fell on Arav. "Son?" he said gently. "Why do you look so defeated?" Arav looked up, confusion flashing in his eyes, and whispered, "I just wanted to buy something for Mom. But they laughed at me. They didn't think I belonged here." His voice cracked, and Rajvir's chest ached with both pride and sorrow. What happened next turned every mocking smile into horror. Rajvir placed a hand on Arav's shoulder and looked at the stunned crowd. "This boy you laughed at, this boy you mocked for his humble clothes and coins, he is my son, and more than that, he is the rightful heir to everything in this store." Gasps filled the room. The laughter turned into pale silence. The staff who had ridiculed Arav now stood frozen, their arrogance dissolving into shame. Rajvir's eyes hardened as he addressed them. "Shame on you. Jewelry may shine, but what good is gold if the hearts behind it are rotten?" This store was built on values of respect, humility, and kindness. Values you clearly forgot. A tears welled in Arav's eyes as his father turned to him, lifting his pouch of coins and pressing it back into his hands. "Son, your money is worth more than all the diamonds here because it carries your effort, your love. Buy the locket with it. Let your mother wear not just silver, but your heart around her neck." Arav's trembling hands held the locket as the staff, now bowing their heads, tried to apologize. But Rajvir's stern voice cut them short. "Remember, true wealth is not displayed in glass cases. It is displayed in how you treat people who walk through these doors." The boy who had been ridiculed moments ago now stood taller, not because of his father's wealth, but because his worth had been revealed. As the midday sun streamed through the glass doors, Arav clutched the small box holding the locket. His heart filled with quiet triumph. For his mother, this was not just a gift of silver. It was a symbol of love that had endured humiliation, a treasure born of sacrifice and strength. That evening, when Arav placed the locket around his mother's neck, her eyes filled with tears. She kissed his forehead, whispering, "You've given me more than jewelry, my son. You've given me honor." And in that small, humble home, brighter than any diamond, shone the light of a boy's love and a father's wisdom. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your engagement helps us bring more stories of compassion, resilience, and hidden strength to people around the world. And before you go, I have a special request. Comment below with the words "True wealth is kindness" if you believe respect matters more than riches.